makes a successful entrepreneur? Have you ever wondered if there's like this magic formula that it takes to be successful in business? Well, there is, and today I'm going to share it with you. Hi, I'm Amy Walker, small business strategist, speaker, and author, and today I am giving you the 4 qualities of successful entrepreneurs. Whether you're looking at the Steve Jobs and the Mark Zuckerbergs and these people who built big companies from nothing, to like your person that you look up to in your local community that runs a really successful local business, across the board, as I have met successful entrepreneurs, they all have these same 4 characteristics. So we're going to dive into them today. If you haven't done it yet, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can get notified every time I release new content every Monday through Friday. Because one of my goals this year is to create a lot of really great information for you so that you can grow your business and also maintain more balance in your personal life. So let's jump in. Successful entrepreneurs. Now, a lot of entrepreneurship is learned. There are a lot of skills, and when you step in as a new entrepreneur, you do tend to feel like you jumped into the deep end and you're trying to learn how to swim as you go. So if you're feeling that, it's okay, it's totally normal. But there are 4 characteristics that I feel like are really critical that every single multi-million or billion-dollar entrepreneur I know all has these same 4 characteristics. If you're thinking, oh gosh, I really hope that I have them because if I don't, I'm doomed to failure. No, a lot of these people, they developed them over time and they've gotten stronger over time. But I think you got to look deep inside of yourself and see, am I really wired to be an entrepreneur? Because they're pretty critical. Okay, so I am going to give you my 4 characteristics. I'm also going to give you a couple of suggestions for how you can develop or strengthen these characteristics in yourself, and share a little bit about my entrepreneur journey as we go. So let's jump right in. Number 1 is they're solution thinkers. Now, I started out as an entrepreneur feeling like I hit a lot of walls. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, especially early entrepreneurs, you do have that experience where it's like, oh, here's a wall, and here's a wall, and here's a wall, and here's a wall. And in the beginning, I struggled to know what to do when I hit those walls. I'd be like, that's hard. I'm not really sure what to do here. And so I would kind of like sit on the sidelines and stare at the wall and watch other people going over the wall and think about how I was going to also go over the wall, but not actually be in the process of finding solutions for myself. I let obstacles stop me too much in the early years. As I've grown as an entrepreneur, I really am at the point where my husband's like, you never accept no. It doesn't matter what someone tells you, you're going to figure out a way how to get through that, because that's how your brain gets wired to work, where anytime you see an obstacle, you're immediately thinking of multiple different ways that you can make it around that obstacle. There's nothing in a successful entrepreneur's mind that really truly stops them short of like death, right? Like that's about it. Anything else, they're going to look at it and they're going to go, okay, there's a challenge. Let's think of some solutions to find that. And I love this skill. I think it is a great skill to help you in your business life, also in your personal life, because it's nice to have somebody around who doesn't get hung up and like stuff doesn't faze you as much as it used to. So if you are trying to develop this skill, because you recognize like, yeah, I am getting stopped by challenges and I don't want that to be my defining story. One thing that I recommend is having an affirmation around this, so that when you see a problem, and that is what I used to be like, well, it's not working. I have a problem. It's just not, I'm trying, and I would catch myself with all of this struggle type language. And so in the very beginning, what I would do is I would just share with myself powerful declarations, things like, I always find solutions. I'll figure this out. I don't have the answer yet, but I will. I'm learning new things every day to help me learn how to handle these solutions. And so declarations was a big part of me shifting that. The other thing was actually pausing and trying to brainstorm my best solutions. And then the third piece to that was actually having a mentor who had been through that before that could shorten my learning curve by kind of being like, well, have you thought of it this way? Have you looked at it this way? What about this? When I was at this point, here's some of the things that we tried to really help me get to the point where I could then develop my own solution finding skills. But every successful entrepreneur I know, they're really good at finding solutions. Number 2 is that they are self-motivated. Now, this one again, I struggled with a little bit. I have not yet mastered self-motivation in all areas. If I had, I would eat a little less ice cream and a little more veggies, and I would do a little more exercise. And so I am not claiming to be perfect in self-motivation. But when I was a new entrepreneur and I was struggling in entrepreneurship, motivation was one of my big challenges. I got my start, for those of you who haven't heard my story, I got my start in network marketing. And once a week we would go and we would have our weekly sales meeting. And it would be this like big hurrah. We had music, we had like clappers, you know, those things that you shake like this and they clap from side to side. It was a big to do, and I would get motivated and enthused, and then I would go and I would work for like a couple days, and then I would hit some sort of a slump midweek or some sort of a disappointment, and then I would like lose my steam towards the end of the week, and then I would go again the next week and I would get this fresh start. And I was not great at self-motivation, and as a result, it took a while for my business to really pick up steam and to grow. And what I learned along the way was that self-motivation is like a muscle. The more that you use it, the stronger it gets. Right now, I am currently working on a writing project that I'm super excited about, and I am waking up between 4 and 5 every morning to get my word count in for the day. No one's making me do it. I'm doing it because I have developed that muscle of self-motivation over the years, where I realized that that self-discipline is the key to everything that I want. So I work on it, I develop it. I'm better at self-motivation in business than I am at like exercise, but it's a work in progress, and I get a little bit better every day, right? Because when you have obstacles, you tell yourself, we get a little bit better every day. So if you are struggling with self-motivation, here's a couple of things that you can do. Number 1, get an accountability partner, somebody that you guys check in with each other to make sure that you're really following through and doing what you need to do. The second thing that you can do if you're struggling with that self-motivation is set aside time, dedicate time each day to getting yourself mentally prepared. Whether that looks like journaling, or that looks like reading words that are motivational and inspiring to you, or you are going to set aside time to meditate. I don't know what that looks like for you, but I have found that if I can be disciplined with a small period of time that is to like build me up, then that discipline really carries through the rest of the day. It's pretty magical how that math happens. It's like, give yourselves 30 minutes of discipline time at the beginning of that day, and you'll find that that motivation that comes from you being in integrity with yourself will last for pretty much the whole day. I mean, you might hit like a little afternoon slump, but you're good. You got some good things going on. Number 3, entrepreneurs embrace change. Successful entrepreneurs, they recognize that what I'm doing today is not what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, and I'm always looking for ways to innovate. When something's not working, we got to change, we got to fix it, we got to figure out what we're going to do next. So embracing change is pretty important. Now, I, by nature, like change. I love changing my hair. I love moving. It's really one of the most frustrating parts of my personality, because my husband does not love this about me, but literally about every 5 years, I feel the need to move. So I really do love change. If I was married to a more adventurous person, I would move to different countries every couple of years and just think it's great. He would like to live in one house for his entire life. So we compromise and it works for us. But I do like change. Now, My husband is also an entrepreneur with me, and he is change averse. He likes safety, he likes security, he likes for things to be just kind of like in a pattern that is predictable and expectable. Is that even a word? Expected? Anyway, and so whether you naturally like change or not, you have to be willing to embrace change and understand that it is good for business and that you will be okay through the process of change. So if you struggle with change and you want to get a little bit better at this, the first thing that I would do is I would actually do some journaling on why you struggle with change. Is there a story in your past where you had a change and it became a negative thing, or something changed around you and you didn't want it, it wasn't what you wanted? But try to see if there's any kind of a root to that change aversion. The second thing that I would do is I would recognize what it is that you need in order to feel safe and secure. Because sometimes we need safety and security. I do as well. I definitely need safety and security. I recognize that I don't get it from things being the same. I get safety and security when things get better. And so if you recognize what the need is that's keeping you from wanting to change, then sometimes you can help reposition that inside of your mind so that you understand, no, things get better as they change. Every change we make is a change towards where we want to go. And it helps you to be more willing to move and to adjust. And our last characteristic of successful entrepreneurs is we are a driven crew. We're not really content with mediocrity. The minute we reach a goal, we can see already in our minds what comes next, and we are constantly wanting something more. So if you struggle with drive, I'm gonna be honest, you're gonna have to get it. You're going to have to find that drive, because people who are not really driven, they have a tendency when it gets hard to just choose something simpler and easier. And there are a lot of simpler, easier life paths than entrepreneurship. And so you're gonna have to dig in and you're gonna have to find your drive. I believe that humans are created with drive. I really do. I think it is in our nature to want more and to do more. I mean, think about it. Babies have a sweet setup. People carry them around, they feed them, they get everything they want brought right to them. And every baby out there, unless they have a physical ailment, like struggles through the crawling, and they fall down and they learn to walk and they hit their head a million times. I mean, we are wired to want to progress. But what happens sometimes is somewhere along the way, that drive causes us to get hurt, or to get reprimanded, or to be labeled in a certain way that, people do, they come and they stick these labels on us. And so if you feel like you've been driven in the past, then it's still inside of you. You just got to figure out how to unlock that drive. Now, on the flip side, there are those of us who our drive is turned up too high to the point where it's unhappy and unhealthy. And what that looks like is it's never enough. Like you're constantly shooting for this, and then when you hit it, you're not happy because you're not here. And then you get here, but it's not enough because you want to be here. And you're constantly trying to get more and more and more, and it never feels satisfying. If that is what you got going on, what I recommend is that you just dial the drive back 2 degrees. I mean, it's really like you're just turning down the heat a little bit on that drive so that it can show up in a really healthy way and that your drive is balanced. Because when my drive gets turned up too high, what happens is my drive is really narrow, and it's like I'm obsessed in one area, but all of the other areas might not be doing so well. And so when I just, in my mind, like turn that mental drive button back 2 degrees, all of a sudden now I can manage being driven to achieve more in my marriage and my business, or being able to be more healthy and still write my book. I haven't mastered that one yet. Right now, I'm totally putting my book as a higher priority than working out. So if you have any good tips there, feel free to leave them my way, because I have not mastered that one yet. However, it does not mean that I don't have drive. I've got tons of drive, and I think that we all do. So It doesn't mean that in order to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be perfect in these 4 areas, but they're definitely 4 characteristics that I would look at, work on, and figure out how you can increase your game in those areas so you can be more successful as an entrepreneur. All right, was this helpful for you? If so, I would love to hear from you in the comments. I always love hearing what is going on with you in your business. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch and be a part of this channel. I invite you to stay connected. If you would like to, you're welcome to hop on over and join my private community for entrepreneurs. It's a place to ask questions, get connected with other people, and it's called the CEO Spot on Facebook. I would love to see you there. All right, my friends, that is it for today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.